This conference will now be recorded.
This is Ahmed. So today webinar topic is Oracle Database new feature for administrator. As you know, I am database consultant instructor. I hope screen is visible and audio is okay.
अभी वो सेशन अटेंड कर रहे हैं क्या सर का क्या
Please mute. Okay, so let's begin with this is my certification, which almost many, so I'm not going into that. So today agenda is I will cover database enhancement, security enhancement, availability enhancement, and diagnosability enhancement, and small changes. So whatever changes happen in 19C, that I will cover. And I can assure you after this session, you will get many things regarding 19C. So that will be helpful for your daily work if you are working on 19C or your company planning to move on 19C. So why everybody is going to 19C? So first we understand what is 19C. So if you see the 12C family, so 12C is 12.201. Then after that, 12.202 is launched in 2018. That's why Oracle has given the naming 18C, and 12.203 launched in 2019. That's why Oracle has given 19C name for this product. So from 2018, Oracle changed the naming convention. So that's why lots of DB have very confusion about this 19C, 18C, and 20C. So that's why I have added this slide. And why I'm going to go for 19C? The main reason is that database support. If you see this support timelines, so 19C will support it 2023. Extended support will goes to 2026. So almost 6 years your 19C will be in the market. So that's why everybody is moving, or every company is moving to 19C. So as a DBA, you have to learn about 19C after 12C, because 12C 12.1 Oracle is supporting till 2021, but 12.201 they stopped at the end of the 20 this year, and 18C they will stop at the beginning of 21, and 11.204 they will stop before end of the 2020. So that's why I have, excuse me, that's why I have chosen this topic. Okay, so let's begin with, so what are the changes happen in 12C family? So 12C started from 12.20. I have added this only. So sharding is the main thing, and multi-tenant, online clone and relocate, and then autonomous health framework, then new in-memory features, and then online encryption. So these are the things which actually improved or added in 12C. And if you go with 18C, so you will get mem optimized row store. If you are there in my if you were there in my previous session, so you know what is mem optimized row. This is the component which is added in SGA, and then sharded rack, then multi-tenant snapshot, then active directory integration, then private temporary tables. So these are the things comes in 18C. Now 19C, which is the topic of today, they had given high speed data ingestion and active data guard DML redirect, automatic indexing, very good feature, and hybrid partition tables and JSON improvements, right? So I am skipping big data enhancement, I am skipping data warehouse enhancement, and I am skipping sharding improvement or enhancement. I had taken only main topics which are related to DBA work, because sharding is different thing, big data and data warehousing is different thing. So I had covered mostly OLTP related things. So the first thing is that in database enhancement, what is that? Automatic execution of fixup script and root.sh. So this feature is basically introduced in 19C, where you can provide a root user and password, or you can provide sudo credential. If the root option you will select, so you have to put the password of root. If you have to, if you are selecting sudo password, then whatever user defined in the username field. So to enable sudo execution, you have to ask the system administrator to enter the username as a member of sudo list, which actually reside in the sudo ers file, which is stored in etc folder. Okay, so that you have to do. And the automatic automation is supported to both single instance database and grid infrastructure installation and rack instance. Okay, so that is a very good option is added. And in terms of silent mode installation, the you can specify the root or sudo uh, in the prompt. Okay, so not in the response file. Okay, so you have to given on the prompt actually. Okay, so this is the things. And now another thing is that cloning a remote PDB. Okay, so what if anyone did that in 18C? Basically we have CDB root and we have PDB 1, and on remote side we have CDB root and PDB2. So remote source PDB is still up and fully functional. So in 18C, what we did, in 18C, we cloning a production PDB to create a test PDB, copies the remote production PDB into a CDB, while the remote production PDB is still up and fully functional. So hot remote cloning requires both CDBs to switch from shared undo mode to local undo mode, which means that each PGB uses its own local undo table space. So to complete the operation, you must execute several SQL command, right? But in 19C, you can use DBCA to clone a remote PDB. That is very easy. Got it? In 18C, what you have to do, you have to connect the sys as a sysdba, then you have to create the database link, and then you have to connect to the system by password using PDB, then clone the remote PDB from CDB2 to PDB2, and you have to set the alter session set db create file dest, and then you have to fire create pluggable database pd2 from the link which you have created. Then you have to open pdb in read only mode or read write mode by the command alter pluggable database pdb2 open. So this is the way you do in 18C, but in 19C it is very easy, and it is done by in silent installation. So if you see the picture in that, what is there, it same operation by using DBCA in silent mode. So the DBCA execute the following steps. First, it will check the presence of database link. If the database link exists, DBCA drop it, and then DBCA create the database link, then DBCA creates the PDB from the remote PDB, then DBCA checks the status of clone PDB to verify that it is in mounted mode, then it opens the clone PDB. So as in Oracle Database 18c, the user in the local target CDB must have the create pluggable database privileges in the CDB root. Okay, so the remote CDB must use local undo mode, and the remote CDB must be in archive mode. So the common user in the remote PDB that the database link connection to must have a create pluggable database and create session privileges. So that is about this DBCA to clone a remote DBA. So in your screen you can see that the syntax and the file, and they have mentioned PDB, CDB1, CDB2, PDB2, and they have mentioned username for both the things, right? Clear, guys? Now, using DBCA to relocate a remote PDB. So anyone had done in 18C anything? So in Oracle 18C, to complete a PDB relocation, you must execute many SQL commands. So the pull mode connected to CDB, where the PDB will be relocated, pulls the source PDB from the CDB where the PDB exists, and draining exist connection and managing new connection without requiring any changes to the application. So you have to do three things or three steps in your 18C. First, you have to connect it as a sysdba, and then you have to create the database link. Then you have to set db create file dest. Then you have to create pluggable database with the link relocate option. Then you have to alter the command alter the pluggable database pdb1 open. So like that you have to do that. Okay. So now in 19C, using DBCA to relocate a PDB is very easy. You have to export the CDB2, and through silent installation you can do that. So what DBC will do, it will check the presence of the database link. If link is exist, DBCA drop it, and after that it creates the database link, and then it creates the PDB from the remote PDB, and it will check the status of clone PDB to verify that it is in mounted mode. Then it will open the relocate PDB. So the user in the local database must have create pluggable database privileges in the CDB root container, and the remote and local database must be in archive log mode, and the common user in the remote database that the database link connects to must have two privileges, that is create pluggable database and session and sysoper privileges. So the local and remote database must either have the same options installed, or the remote database must have a subset of those present on the local database. So that is about 19C relocating a remote PDB. So that's why 19C is most powerful and better than 12C and 18C. Clear? Now another enhancement is using DBCA to duplicate a CDB. So in 19C they have done too much enhancement in DBCA. So when I'm duplicating a CDB in 18C, suppose I have CDB1, so I have to create CDB2. So what I do in 19C, first I will create P file from CDB1 and SP file for CDB2. Then I will set the initialization parameter for CDB2. Then I will remove all the entries with this that start with CDB, and I will substitute all those entries with CDB2, and I will add two parameters. The first is DB file name convert and log file name convert, and we know that what what is the use of this parameter. Basically, these are Oracle managed features where automatically your file naming, your file size happen in your database. Okay, and we can create the database also with OMF features by adding these two parameters. Then the third step in 18c, you will do the create the directory and password file for CDB2 instance, and then you will create a CDB2 SP file from CDB2 P file before starting the CDB2 instance. Then you will connect to the source CDB and auxiliary CDB2 instance before you start duplication. So how you will connect? You will say rman auxiliary username target and username at the rate that service name CDB1. Then you will fire duplicate target database to CDB2 from active database DB file name convert a bracket means CDB1 to CDB2. So this is the way you have to do lots of step in 18c. But instead of doing these things in 18c, you can do by exporting the command. Then in DBCA silent mode, you can give everything on the prompt, and your database will created. And also you can duplicate a single instance CDB to a rack CDB. That is another good option in terms of duplicating a CDB. Clear, guys? Now creating a PDB snapshot from a PDB. So the snapshot uh, is basically in Oracle multi-tenant. The term snapshot means different things depending on contents. What is that? Storage level snapshot, which is used to create a snapshot copy of the PDB, and PDB level snapshot, which is used to create a standard clone PDB. So a PDB level snapshot does not involve storage level snapshot. So this is important point. So that's why it in slide it is mentioned that storage snapshot, then SQL statement not applicable, only supported on a specific file system. Then I say snapshot copy PDB, so you have to fire create pluggable database from snapshot copy, so it will not include a complete copy of the source data file. Then if I say PDB snapshot, then you have to fire alter pluggable database snapshot. So the database level copy of PDB, no storage level snapshot is involved, either a full copy of the source PDB or a sparse copy of the PDB. So clone PDB based on a PDB snapshot, you have to use create pluggable database from using snapshot. So creates a full standalone clone PDB, unlike a snapshot copy PDB, and does not need to be materialized. And these are the DBA underscore PDB underscore snapshot file is the view, and DB underscore PDBs is the view. So these are the things happen in 19c. So we have these snapshot. Clear? So you can create a PDB snapshot from a PDB. Now come to data pump enhancement. So in data pump enhancement, basically table space data files can be read only during the transportable table space import process. So however, read only mode does not rebuild table space bitmap to reclaim space and improve performance of import. Okay, or adjust timestamp with time zone columns. So if the source database has a different DST version, then the target database DBAs can now import table space like mounted on different databases as long as the files are set as read only. So decreasing the time of data pump TTS export and import operation by passing these steps. So skip the rebuild of the bitmap to reclaim free space that is left unused. Leave the table space read only, and skip the set closure check allowing TTS or full transportable export to remain in read-write mode, migrating objects involved encrypted columns into a cloud database, and controlling overutilization of resources when multiple users perform data pump job. So these are the excuse me enhancements happen in 19C. Now decreasing transportable import time. So keep tablespace read only during transportable options. So you have this parameter transportable is equals to keep read only, and does not rebuild free space bitmap during TTS import, but allow the table space to become read write after import. So you have transportable equals to no bitmap rebuild, and starting in Oracle database 12c data pump change how important import handled transportable table spaces. Okay, so before 12c the data pump would always leave the table space as read only, but there were two problems with this. First problem is what? If the version of the time zone file of the export database did not match the version of the time zone file for the import database, then all table with time zone data type in the transportable space would be dropped because they could have incorrect value with the new time zone file. So this was the problem before 12c. And what is the other problem? Data pump tracked free spaces in a transportable table space did not scale for large table space. We had customer where actually export would take hours to gather information about free spaces. So to fix this performance issue, the data pump changed to rebuilding the bitmap of free space at import time. So in 19C, if the DBA wants to do read-only import, DBA can use keep underscore read underscore only. So option, instead of setting OS permission on the file, and what is that OS permission? We keep read only indicates that the transportable data files are to remain in read-only mode and allows the data file to be plugged into an additional compatible databases for read-only access. So table containing with the TSTZ column data cannot be updated and are dropped from the import. In this case, you will get the error 39339. So that error will tell you table is skipped due to transportable and TZ issue. Okay, so that is that. If DBA wants to define the rebuild of the bitmap in order to have a shorter downtime for the option, so they can use no bitmap rebuild option. So that parameter will not rebuild the things. So that is the important thing. And data files may be placed in read-write mode if necessary to update tables of TSTZ column. So bitmap can be rebuilt by using the procedure, that is dbems space admin dot table space rebuild bitmap procedure. So if you are not rebuilding, later on you can rebuild that. So this is transportable import time. I hope it is clear till now. My speed is okay. Okay, Umesh, thank you. Then decreasing transportable export time. So determine the length of time the table space files are required to be read only during transportable operations. So you have this parameter TTS closure check test mode, and does not perform a closure check during transportable operations, then you have to put off this parameter. So this enhancement happen in transportable export time. Then excuse me, and then omitting the column encryption attribute during import. So we know that encryption is very important. So when using data pump to migrate a source database that has objects which actually encrypted column, so data pump import always include any associated encryption attribute to create objects in the target database. So consequently, these objects may fail to get created in the target database due to invalid and unsupported encryption system. So if the target database uses transparent data encryption at the table space level, allowing user or suppress encryption related syntax during import. Okay, so that's why they are saying transform in omit encryption clause y and no. So it will apply to materialized view, tables and table space object. It will enable objects which are utilizing encrypted column in the source to get created in the target database environment where encryption attributes are not supported. So very important parameter in terms of encryption. So if you are working in banking project, so that time this is very helpful. Clear? Then controlling resources consumed during data pump operation. So control the resources. How you will control that? You have the parameter jobs per PDB, that is auto, and data pump parallel per job auto. So Oracle 19c introduced these two new parameters. Okay, so that will give you DBS to more control over the number of data pump jobs that can be started in each PDB in a CDB, and over the number of parallel workers that can be used for an individual data pump job respectively. So these initialization parameter give the DBA more control over resource utilization. When there are multiple users who may be performing data pump job in a one CDB, so on that time these two parameter will affect a lot. Clear, guys? So when the parameter has a value of auto, Oracle data pump drive its value to be 50% of the value of the session initialization parameter in max data pump parallel per job. And if it is in jobs per PDB, it is also the actual value of the 50% of the session initialization parameter. Okay. Now handling long list value of generated by list aggregate function or ag function, you can say. So it will create a complex query to find the distinct value of this aggregate function, and it will generate very long list value, and length is supported by 32,000. So in Oracle database 12.2, the list aggregate function perform two steps. It orders the row for each group in a query according to the order by expression, and it concatenates the value into a single string. So if the string generated containing too many characters exceeding the limit of varchar2, the error will be raised. So now by this varchar 32 is supported long things, so that's why you will not get the error of 01489. So that is about this. So use on the list act function on overflow truncate. So truncate the strings to fit in the limit of varchar2 object. Allow the user to set the truncate identifier character string. So you have country table, group by region ID or by region ID. So list tag function you will apply on country name, and you have pass on overflow truncate. Okay, so this will perform the truncation. And you have list add function with distinct. So distinct, we know that find the distinct value, or you can say only single value, no duplication. So it will eliminate the duplicate value generated by list list add function, create codes that is easier to maintain. It is execute fast actually. Now, security enhancement. So database enhancement is done. Now come to security enhancement. Give me 2 minutes. I'm just coming back to take a water. Yeah, guys, sorry for that. So security enhancement, if you see in this diagram, in 12.2, security is started with access control, encryption, redaction, masking, auditing, SQL firewalls, excuse me, key wallet, audit wallet, database firewall, security assessment tool. Then in 12C, 12.2, 18C, 19C. So in 12.2, online encryption introduced by Oracle. Then in 18C, they have include integration with Active Directory. Then they have introduced password-less schema creation. And then in 19C, schema only Oracle account and database wallet operations control. So if you see in 18C, user cannot log into the instance, enforce data access through the application, secure schema object, and schema only account cannot be granted administration privileges used in database link. So how you create user username, no authentication. So now in 19C, which is mentioned in blue, if you see that, so it keeps Oracle supplied schema created with no authentication as schema only account, grant and revoke administrative privileges to and from schema only account. So that new things happen. And so in 19C, it creates most of the Oracle supplied schemas as schema only account. So these schemas have their password removed to prevent user from authentication to those accounts. So this is the case of the database wallet supplied schema such as DVSys and DVF and Oracle label security supplied LBAC sys schema. So the benefit of this functionality is that administrators no longer have to periodically rotate the password for these Oracle database provided schemas. So this functionality also reduce the security risk of attacker using default password to hack into these accounts. So the sample schemas such as HR still exist and they should not remain on production database. Accounts with administrative privileges such as sysoper or sys backup can now be schema only account. So schema only account can be granted administrative privileges. So that is important enhancement in terms of 19C in security. Now Active Directory, we know that centrally managed user, and you have database user password Kerberos PK, Oracle database, Oracle directory services. So authentication, data authorization, data map user, roles, enterprise domains. So that is Active Directory, which actually do the things. and database wallet operation control. Production in addition to database wallet and command rules. So we have DBA, DB status, and implementation of separate duty and access control without PDB owners, and logs DBA and application DBA, and requires database wallet to be configured and enabled in CDB root, not in PDB. So if you see the figure, there is no need to create these rules to protect PDB data from DBA common user. So these two rules you have not to create at PDB level. Clear, guys? So database wallet operations control allowing operation. So the production allows Oracle DBA or common user to patch, backup, restore, and upgrade PDB and other options when database wallet operation control is manually disabled. So you have to execute this package with this procedure where you can pass the value or you cannot pass the value. So this is the way you can control of database wallet operations. And you can also control by granting the DV owner rule, which basically you granted locally in the CDB root, can exclude database wallet operations control procedure. So you have sys.configure underscore DV and dvsys.dbms mac adm.disable app protection or enable app protection, and you have add app exception or delete app exception. So these are the procedure. So and grants the CDB owner rule locally in the CDB rule. So this is the way you can do that. Excuse me. Then setting an exception list. So what is that? Database features such as Oracle Text, Oracle Spatial uses pre-configured common user to access local schemas in PDBs. So DB owner in CDB root maintain the list of common user and packages so that the application and option can work as usual. So this exception list is very important. So dvsys.dba dv app exception and exception list is mdsys. Okay, so this is about exception list. And creating database wallet command rules to protect audit policy. So we have command owner object status rule and scope. So by this diagram you can see that until Oracle 19c you can use database wallet command rules to protect a wide range of SQL statement. In addition to basic Oracle database DDL and DML statements, command rules do not have a name. They are known by unique combination of command and object owner and object name. So therefore you can create multiple select command rules like as long as the object owner and object name attributes are different in these command rule. Okay, so this is all about. So here if you see that uh, create, alter, drop, truncate, audit, and no audit. So these are the most DDL options. You have alter system, you have execute, you have select, insert, update, and delete. So in that, if you are passing status, you are passing object owner, object name, rule set, and scope. So these are the variables or attributes you will pass in create command rule. Okay, so this is the way you can do that. Then auditing top level statement only. So audit a top level user or direct user activity in the database without collecting indirect user activity. So you have the option only top level, which you can add in create audit policy time and minimize audit record. And this is the 19C features, which actually audit only top level user directly issued events without overhead of indirect SQL statement. So top level statements are SQL statement that user directly issues. So these statement can be important to both security and compliance. So SQL statement run from within PL SQL procedure or functions are not considered top level because they may be less relevant for auditing purpose. So the create audit policy statement can include or exclude top level statement audit record in unified and audit trail or for any user by using only top level clause. So this is the things. So first example in the slide is showing how to define the audit policy that will capture all top level statement issued by the sys user. And second example shows that how to find the audit trail to top level instance of the update statement on the HR employees table when user execute update command on the HR employee table. So the action is audited. Whereas when the user execute the same command through a procedure, the action is not audited. So this is the difference between that. Okay. Now privilege analysis. So as you see in 18C, privilege analysis is available as a part of Oracle database wallet, but now in 19C, privilege analysis is available as a part of Oracle database enterprise edition. So privileges analysis actually reduce the work to implement the least privileges best practice by showing exactly what is used and unused by each account. So it is highly effective and designed to work in production, test, and development database. So privilege analysis is now available as a part of 19C Enterprise Edition, and database wallet option is not required to use these features from 19C. So that is very good enhancement in terms of security. Clear, guys? I hope it is not boring. A little bit boring. Okay. So handling operations on Oracle Manage and user manage table. See, in 1 hour, I can just show the path. Okay. After that, this is your work to find out more about this in terms of concept wise, in terms of work wise. So whatever the PPT things I have prepared from the documentation, and some slides I have taken from the Maria. She had done presentation about this 19C. So I got online, so I had took some slides from her presentation. So that's why I have mentioned in the end what is the source of my slide. Okay, so this is another feature, handling operations on Oracle Manage and user manage table space encrypted in TDE. So we have CDB. When the CDB root key store is closed, so in 18C it will disallow all operations on encrypted table space. But in 19C it allows all operation on encrypted Oracle managed table space, such as key store migration, except for operation affecting the encryption metadata of an Oracle managed table space. So this is new things which introduced in 19C. Now in information, the database of the location change of the password file, very important. So you have password file underscore info view, where you can find out a password file location, and the password file locations you can change in the Aura PWD by file equals to, and does not inform the database of the changes. So you can fire alter system flush password file metadata cache. So update file name in the in the password file info view. So this is new things happen in 19C. That is very interesting. Now availability. Okay, bouncing. Sandhya, you are starting in your career, so that's why it's bouncing. But my suggestion is that just going to 19C and read the 19C things, do the practice of 19C. Okay, if you didn't start 12C, so first do the 12C release 2 practice and then move directly to 19C. And after that, do hands-on on 19C regularly, because this database will valid till 2026. So you have to know about 19C work of the DBA. So in high availability, we have disaster recovery functionality. So we know that RAC, Active Data Guard, Recovery Appliance, or Oracle Golden Gate for heterogeneous replication. So in 12.2, sharding autonomous health framework came. Then 18C sharded RAC uh, come into the picture. Then in 19C, Data Guard DML redirect. Sharding now supports multiple PDB shards in a CDB, then improvements to application continuity. So I will not cover sharding and all. So my focus is on Active Data Guard DML redirection. So what is that? It allows DML to execute against the standby database. On execution of the DML, operation is passed to the primary database. So that the primary database performs the operation and generates the redo. The redo is then applied to the standby and then control return to the application. So the transaction is full ACID compliant and allows for incidental updates to run against the standby, increasing the overall flexibility of the disaster recovery architecture. So if you see that first DML perform, and then DML is redirected to primary, then DML is applied to primary, then data changes is streamed to standby, then data is visible to the client. So this is the way your DML redirection happen in 19C. That is very good feature in terms of data guard. Boss, I think you have missed Shankar, 12.203 and 19.200. Okay. So I will come to at the end of the session, post your questions in the chat room. So I will take it at the end. So using recovery catalog with the PDB target connection. So to back up and restore a PDB using the recovery catalog, you must access the CDB root as the target, which was in 18C feature. But in 19C, to back up and restore a PDB using the recovery catalog, you can access the PDB as the target. Okay, so that is the difference between 18C and 19C. Then using recovery catalog with the PDB target connection steps. So first you will create RMAN base catalog, then you restart the target database in the catalog, then you will enable the catalog as a VPC enabled catalog, then you have to upgrade the catalog, and then you have to create a VPC user in the catalog PDB, then you have to base catalog owner give the VPC user access to metadata of a particular PDB. Then in the last, connect to the prod PDB1 target PDB into the recovery catalog as this user to back up and restore prod PDB target PDB. So this is the way you have to do that in 19C. And compression methods for backup. So compression method from 18C, 11G to 18C, these are there, but in 19C, this new ZSTD is introduced. That algorithm medium is medium and other is basic low medium. Okay, so this new compression things happen for backups. Now reclaiming flashback logs. So in latency, when the retention target is lowered until FRA is running out of space, so no purge of reclaim flashback logs. But in 19C, automatic purge of reclaim flashback logs. So immediate detention of the flashback logs when the retention period is lowered, and proactive monitoring and detention of the flashback logs beyond the retention period. So this is the best thing in 19C. DBA doesn't require anything. That's why everybody is worried after 19C DBA will lose the job. No, DBA will not lose the job, but DBA will get relaxed. So when you are doing relax, so you have to learn new technology, new things, and then you can show to your company that still you are valuable, so nobody can kick out. But if you sit ideal, then any company will kick out. Okay, whether you have 2 year experience or 10 years of experience. If you show your potentiality, company will never kick out. And now flashback and restore points. So the benefit of PDB restore point is what? They are faster than other types of PDB flashback. No restore of any backup, no clone instance created. There is no need to take a new backup. So that is flashback restore point, which help you a lot. So you have the view restore underscore point. So these are the commands which you have to do for this flashback and restore points. Then automatic propagation of restore points to all standby. So automatically it will propagate to standby databases. So if suppose you are creating restore point before patch, and it will apply it will create restore point before patch here, and then it will create restore point before patch here, and then it will create restore point before patch. So all standby is doing that. So you have to create on only PDB 1, and what are the standby of PDB 1? They will create a restore point. So that is very good things. An automatic flashback on physical standby database. So that is also a very good thing. If you are doing a restore point before patch, flashback to before patch will apply on the all the standby. Then multi-tenant. As we said, from 12C multi-tenant picture, the multi-tenant word came in. So it manage many as one. So patching, backup, security, online cloning, online relocation, software as a service in that shared metadata, data location, transparency. So in 12.2 online cloning and replication you can do. Implement refresh of test or dev master application container introduced in 12.2. In 18C transportable backups, snapshot, refreshable PDB switchover, and in 19C RAT and ADDM at PDB level. So ADDM was at CDB level till 18C, but now ADDM is a PDB level. Now come to very important of performance enhancement. So as you know, in 12.2 they have row level locking, read consistency, B-tree index, bitmap index, materialize view, parallel query, advanced compression, ASM result cache. So in that they had done a lot in improvement, and software in Silicon in memory column store, which introduced, that is basically storage type change as from row storage to columnar storage. And Exadata provides the best database platform for all workload. So in 12.2 they have in-memory JSON query, they have in-memory active standby. So in-memory is a component which is added in SGA from 12.2 from 12.1. And 18C memory optimized row store will come, but in 19C they have introduced fast ingest support for IoT type workload in mem optimized row, and quarantine for SQL plans, and automatic indexing. So if you go mem optimized row store, so what is basically is that this is mechanism for inserting data into the database. How database will insert? So they have added in 19C, but in 18C this feature was used for select purpose, but now from 19C they use for insertion purpose. So it is ideal for lightweight of IoT transaction. It rows are cached in memory and asynchronously drained to disk. So asynchronously means we have two types of IO. One is synchronous, one is asynchronous. So asynchronous does not require confirmation from each other. Suppose two people are working, so they will do their work and they will not confirm each other. But if we say asynchronous, so they will update the work to each other. So they have to wait for updation. So that's why that is degrading the performance. So that's why in this mechanism they used asynchronous to transfer the data to the disk. If you see the diagram there, how it is work, this buffer cache, and in large volume basically is used for this mem optimized row store. So from there draining will happen to the disk and write verification API. So API allows developer to check on the durability of their insert. So they will declare at the table level what is that mem optimized for write, and also they can use hint in mem optimize underscore write. So this is about. And fastest lookup mem optimize feature basically uh, 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 querying the data with primary key constraint using a new in-memory hash index structure and accessing table rows permanently pinned in the buffer cache. So if you see the hash index map a given key to the address of the row in the database buffer cache. So the first thing what it will do, get the address of the row in the buffer cache and reads the row from the buffer cache, and you can enable mem optimize for read. This is the command which you can put in your table and does not change table on disk structure, does not require an application code change, and it populate the hash index for an object by populate procedure with DBMS mem optimize package. So this is about hash index in memory when you use mem optimize feature. So mem optimize row store fastest ingest is behaving like this. So conventional insert happened with DBWR, but when you use mem optimize, so large pool will be used, and there is SMCO process which has many worker process that will do the insertion, right? Clear, guys? So how you will do that? You will create the table with the mem optimization for write, or otherwise you can alter the table, or you can use the hint in insert operation. So this is the way you can use fast ingest. And AWR and ADDM behavior. AWR snapshot are created to collect the statistics, which we know every 60 minutes. Now it will collect the statistics at PDB level, and it collect the statistics for each PDB which is open, and ADDM runs at the CDB level only. Recommendation at the CDB level and PDB level it will give. So that is the drastic change in 19C. Now configure automatic ADDM analysis at the PDB level that was not there in 18C. So how you do that? By alter system set command, you have this parameter AWR PDB auto flash enable. You have to set true, then set the AWR snapshot interval that is minimum is 60 minutes, and execute the ADDM task manually. So you have DBMS ADDM package. In that you have analyzed DB procedure. In that you can pass the attributes which are begin snapshot and snapshot, etc. Now SQL developer and user enable for SQL monitoring usage. So in 18C you have DBA has select catalog role, and SQL developer without select catalog role. So in 18C we have SQL monitor, we have SQL plan underscore monitor, and we can see in OEM grid control. But from 19C SQL developer without select catalog role can do the things by running DBMS SQL tune package, and the procedure is report SQL monitor. So that is very good understanding for developer. SQL quarantine. See, this execution plan consume excessive resource or quarantine. It is prevented from execution. Again, improves overall responsiveness of the system by stopping rough SQL statement being continually resubmitted. DBA can monitor from $SQL and controlled by DBMS SQL queue or DBMS resource manager. So if you this figure user execute SQL statement and then SQL consume excessive resources, so SQL prevented from rerunning, and DBA can monitor and export to that, and results return like this. Comparing SQL execution plan. So comparing plan with DBMS explain functions in 18C. So you have to compare only two plans at a time, origin from the same source, and you use 5 functions based on the source of the plan. So these are 5 functions, but in 19C take a reference plan and arbitrary list of test plan which is generated from any source, highlight the differences between the reference plan and each of the plan in the list. So this is the things which improves in comparing SQL execution plan in 19C. Then hint usage reporting is basically creates a report which hints embedded in the query text by the end user, and hints originated from other sources such as outline, SPM, SQL profile, SQL packages. So it provides detailed information like invalid hints, conflicting hints, ignore hint, used hints that affected the final plan. So you have DBMS workload repository package, and in procedure is modify snapshot setting. You are modifying basically snapshot. So you have DBMS explained display cursor. By that you can access about this reporting, and you can populate in memory segment by query the rows in the table, then execute this procedure in memory populate and verify that in memory segment is populated into the IM column store or not. So that will come into the picture when you enable in memory columns feature in your SGA or in your database. And waiting for in-memory segments to be populated. So you have a populate wait function. So you can use this in PL SQL procedure, and this will ensure that in-memory objects are populated before application can access the data. So this is the way you can populate. If your value is 0, your value is 1, your value is -1, your value is 2, your value is 3. So every digit has different meaning of the codes. Now database replay. So capture at the CDB level, and after that capture directory, then it goes to the database restore, and this is the way your database replay will happen in your database in 19C. So you can pre-change production system, and you have post-change test system. So from production to post-change test system, you can use these things in 19C. So in 18C, database replay procedure at the CDB level, but in 19C, database replay procedure at the PDB level. So this is very good enhancement in 19C. Now reporting. Reporting is basically of replay sessions, synchronization, tracked commit, and session failures. So these are the reporting which introduced in 19C. And new this view DBA RAD capture schema inflow view that help the customer effectively utilize PEL SQL extended mode database capture and replay. Before that, you have to database replay captures and replay in PEL SQL extended mode. So this is the way you have to do this in 18C, but in 19C you have to access only this view which gives the same information which you are doing in 18C. And supplement logging for subset database replication, fine grain supplement logging, but compatibility should be 19, and there is a parameter enable golden gate replication equals to true. So that is good feature for that. And supplement logging for subset database replication. So it enables the subset database replication. So what it will do, it will control supplemental logging overhead, and it enables certain features disable under database level minimum supplement logging. So you have to connect to the database as a sysdba, then you have to alter the database, supplemental log data, and subset database replication keyword. You have to use that. Okay. Fine grained supplement logging, you have to disable logical replication, or you have to disable logical replication after creation. So disabling column data supplemental logging at the table level. So it ignores the table level supplemental log settings, it ignores the schema level, it ignores the container level, it ignores the database level supplemental logging. So it will control individual tables column data supplement logging. So from 19C you can do that. And this is very important feature, indexing, automatic indexing. So what it will do, it will capture, identify, verify, decide, and monitor. So this is the circle. So the entire process is fully automatic, and transparency is equally important, and all tuning activities are auditable, and it will allow to learn from its own action, as all candidate indexes are validated before being implemented. And expert system that implements index based on what a skilled performance engineer would do. Okay, so reinforcement learning allows it to learn from its own action, as all candidate index are validated before being implemented. Now five is section is diagnose. So when I'm saying diagnose, so the first word came into my mind, that is ADR, which introduced in 11G or 12C. That is 11G. So end-to-end automated services for incidents. So what is that? It will avoid, minimize human intervention. It provides quick turnaround for any issue, incident creation, SQL diagnose and repair. And this is the diagram. By that you can see that problem, incident, and MON, and like this, and SQL text case builder. So in 19C you have statement execute, statement crash. So DBA creates a test cases corresponding to the incident ID or text, SQL text, and script generated, and DBA imports the test case to reproduce and provide a fix. So you have DBMS SQL dir package, in that you have import SQL text case procedure. So this is This is SQL text case builder in 19C. And you have export procedure in 18C. It will capture compiler traces for a problematic query, but in 18C it provides new control options. What it will do, it will allow a user to associate a type of issue for exported text case, and it ensures TCB data is specific to the BDB, and it ensures the exported files do not contain password, and it assign a default directory object and a default test case name. So that happens in 19C. And SQL Diagnostic Advisor introduce what it will do. DBA creates a diagnostic task, and DBA sets diagnostic task preferences. DBA execute the diagnostic task, and DBA access the SQL patch. So this is the way this SQL Diagnose advisory will work in your 19C database. And the components stores their metadata in different tables and different forms. So we have $diag incident, we have $SQL text case, we have DBA SQL patches, SQL profiles, DBA advisory task. So these are the things which are a correlation key ID. So see that everyone has incident ID, and here task ID, task name, so like that. So in 18C we use SQL diag package, SQL tune package, SQL diag package, SQL diag package, but in 19C we just do that SQL diag package, and in that we put the procedure SQL diagnose and repair. So if incident ID does not exist, automatic DBMS ADR package which use create incident function that will create the incident ID. So that is a simple and easy way in 19C where we use incident ID equals to this. Now TFA, trace file collector. So we know that it collects diagnostic data for Oracle single instance databases and RAC in one place, and it can be installed during root.sh execution. It is automatic discovery of all Oracle components. It's automatic trace correction, and it's manual trace collection with the ability to choose trace file. Okay, so it will reduce the SR resolution time. And there is a process MOS. So in 12C we have TAF CTL DAG collect. In 18.3 we have same things, but we can fire DBTDE instead of ORA 600. In 18.3 it continues incident and log life cycle management. So these are the errors occurred in 12C. Now these are the errors automatically detected in 18.3, and in 18.3 SRDC detected by this DBTDE. These are the options which you pass in your TFAC CTL tool or utility. So you can upload metadata and data to a service request. So how you do that in 19C? You have a diag collect SRDC and DBSQL of perf is the things, and you automatically upload files and to raise the SR. So that is happened in 18.3. So in 12.C we manually upload the file in MOS, but now in 18.3 you have this. So to upload a collection with metadata, so you have to use Oracle support credential in the TFA wallet, and after that you can collect and upload directly to your SR and upload any other file when Oracle required. So that is very good features which is there in 19C and 18C. So these are the some automatic data reduction. In 12C we have manual setup for XML file, but in 18.3 we have automatic determination of patterns and masking when requested. So in that, IP addresses, host name, and SSN is passed. Okay. So in XML file, this is the XML file in 18.3. So as we know that alert log file is two types. One is text and one is XML, right? Now, the last topic of the today is small changes in your database, which is not so much important, but you should know about that. So the first thing is that Easy Connect. There are some improvement in that. We can pass the SDU, we can pass the retry count, we can pass the connect time out. So these are the connect adapter will now accept a list of name value pairs. So will now enable multiple host ports in the connection string and typically used in load balancing client connection. So this is the Easy Connect syntax. And now we have Oracle Database XE, which is free to use. No rack, no data guard, no golden gate, no support, but the limit is 2 CPU, 2 GB memory, 12 GB user data, and 3 PDB you will get. So if you want CDB architecture. So this is the thing which introduced in 19C. And SQL Developer Web, which is a browse-based IDE for Oracle database development. It allows developer to run SQL statement and build a script. It will build the diagram using the data modeler. It is use real-time SQL monitor to analyze the SQL. So very good feature. And new app introduced where you can compare releases and of new features. So you have a website URL where you can check it, apex.oracle.com database hyphen features. And this live sql.oracle.com is very good things where you will get Oracle 19C free access. You can run SQL script, you can run tutorials, you can run share the script. So this is very important thing. And then installation is very easy in 19C. You can install 19C RPM, yum install of Oracle Instant Client. You have Oracle read-only homes and no click-through client software install, and you have Oracle Docker image. So this is new installation approach from 19C. So that's it from my side. And what we did in this session, we learned about database enhancement, security, availability, performance, diagnosability, and small changes. So I hope this session is means good for you, good for your knowledge. And my source, as I said, from Oracle and Maria presentation. And thank you guys. These are my points which you can use in your DBA goal, and that will help you. And if you have any questions, you can ask, and I'm ready to give the answer.